welcome back to a new episode of the Garter Toss podcast. I'm Sydney, your host, and I'm your go-to girl for all things weddings and culture, inspo and down low, to have and to hold till the end of the episode, do us part. Today's episode is going to be all about current wedding trends that I've been seeing and loving lately. I was thinking about doing a different topic for today's episode, but I just had to do this one because I couldn't stop thinking about it, couldn't stop thinking about how much I wanted to talk about all of the things that I just love lately and that I want to see more of. We are going to be talking a little bit about like some older trends, some brand new ones that I'm literally just seeing, and also maybe some things that I want to see more of in weddings. So that's what to expect for today's episode. If you're here listening, thank you so much. And if you listened to last episode, thank you so much. It's been really fun for me to, as I released it, and then to have a lot of my friends have each individually like listen to it and reach out to me to tell me that they listened to it and to say that they liked it. So I want to give a special shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for your kind words, and I feel very uplifted by it and very excited. So thank you very much. It's very encouraging to hear, even if it's just all of my friends for now. But thank you. I'm ready to dive into all the trends, all of the beautiful things, and to talk about, just all the things I've been loving lately from weddings as someone who looks at weddings all day long at work, and then after work keeps looking at weddings all day long. Because of course, all of my algorithms are just wedding centered and focused, which is by design, of course. I asked on my Instagram stories this week, I'd put a little question box up to see what other trends everybody else has been liking as well. So we are going to read some of those later at the end of the episode. So that'll be super fun. And I also at the end of the episode might share some tips and tricks that I've come across lately. I feel like there's always just like a million ideas of like wedding planning tips. And no matter how much I'm in the wedding industry or how much I'm seeing tips and tricks, I still feel like I'm constantly seeing new ones that I want to share. So might talk about some of those at the end. And I also was thinking about maybe doing something like that at the end of every episode and maybe having like a tip of the week kind of a thing. So let me know if that's something that you would want to hear or have at the end of every episode, a little wedding planning tip of the week or something like that. I think it could be fun. First and foremost, before I jump into talking about all of the trends, the colors, the flowers, everything that I've been loving, here's the thing about weddings and wedding trends. Your wedding will probably not be 100% timeless. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of people do go for like a timeless wedding, and I think that's awesome. First of all, I love those weddings. They're super classy, super nice, and I love them. And at the same time, try as you might to have a super timeless wedding, there are inevitably going to be aspects of it that are telling of the year or the era that you got married in. And I think that's great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If anything, the more time that passes since your wedding, and maybe the more obvious it was when you got married, the more impressive, because that means that you've been married for that long and you've been in love for that long, which is, of course, at the end of the day, what we're all celebrating, and I think that's fabulous. So all that being said, all this talk of like wedding trends, whether you really lean into it and it's like super obvious when you got married or you're trying to lean away from it, what matters is that whatever you do decide to do, whether it's colors or gown styles or flowers or whatever, if it's trendy or not, what matters is what you want and what you like, because you can look back on your wedding photos 20 years from now and be like, oh my gosh, it was so 2026, but I still love it. Or you could look back and be like, why did I pick that color palette? Like I just did it because it was cool on Pinterest or TikTok or whatever. As long as you love it, no matter what, you're probably still always going to love it. Even if it's super timeless or super trendy for 2026 or 2027, whenever it is you get married, what matters is that you love it. And at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about. So just wanted to give that little spiel about trends and all of that. I think what a lot of this comes from is that like people who are getting married now are looking back on like their parents' wedding photos who could have gotten married in like the 80s or 90s, and it's so obvious that they got married in the 80s or 90s or whenever that was, or even like the 2000s, or even 10 years ago, like 2014, mason jar wedding at a barn with the teal and coral colors. Like, in hindsight, it's always going to be very obvious what was trending at the time. And even if it's 10 years or 40 years later and you're like, oh, that's super out, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, even if it is super, super obvious when you got married, if you do have a burgundy and chartreuse wedding in 2026, that's okay, because that's just when you got married, and it's just a reflection of what you love at the time, what you love right now, and a reflection of when you got married. And that's great. It's something to celebrate, and I think it's something that you can lean into. That's a lot of fun to lean into. So, starting off with colors. The thing about wedding colors is that there are absolutely certain color palettes that are just super trendy and of the era. Like I said, with like the teal and coral, very 2012, 2014 kind of vibe. But I think it's really fun, honestly. It's also super interesting. I feel like it kind of comes in chunks of multiple years at a time, whereas it was very much like what's the filter on Instagram? Like a very saturated 2012 Instagram filter, kind of like teal and bright, dark colors that would like kind of pop, which is very much of that era. I'm thinking like boho vibes. And then it was interesting to see how that kind of turned into, over the next few years, a very much like super simple, like white and greenery weddings were super, super trendy for a while. And then it kind of came back a little bit to where now there's much more color in weddings. So I'm interested to see in the next couple of years, where the colors trend and where they go, if it kind of goes back to being like super simple white and greenery type vibes again, or what other colors kind of come into play. I love looking at color palettes. I love wedding colors and seeing how people embrace it and lean into it. The first one that I love seeing in weddings is the color red. I actually, like 2-ish years, probably like 2025-ish, maybe 2024, I thought about making a video of how I predicted that red would become super, super big in weddings. And I was right. So that's a lesson for me to make the video, because now red is super trendy and I love it. I love dark red. I love bright red. I love seeing a gradient of it in flowers and color palettes. I love seeing it paired with other colors like greens and blues. And I feel like when I think about red as a wedding color, I'm like, okay, it looks really great with green, but then when I say it, it sounds like Christmas colors, but it's not. I think a lot of people are embracing like super bright reds, and in a super like modern artistic way, rather than in like a classic red roses way, if that makes sense. Like, I see more bright reds with like ranunculus and super bouncy floral looks, and artsy kind of like cherry red, if that makes sense. I really, really love when people have just a gradient of red as their wedding colors. I think it looks so fabulous. I think it's so, like I said, artsy and fun, while also like leaning into a bold color. I love seeing bold colors lately, and red is just so fab. So love red in wedding colors. Another wedding color that I've been seeing trending quite recently, actually in the last like month or two maybe, is brown. I see a lot of people who have bridesmaids dresses in brown, and just kind of leaning into brown is the new black sort of a thing. I think it's like a really great way to like have this super earthy, neutral color that's like really rich and warm, while also still being like a neutral color, if that makes sense. I'm also really, really loving, I feel like lately I've been seeing a lot more grooms in brown, like the groom in brown and all the groomsmen in brown or whatever. I love a brown suit lately, and I think it looks so good. And again, it's like, it's giving that like super classy vibe without being black, but it's more warmer and earthier and like a more relaxed almost vintage kind of a vibe, which is pretty much where a lot of, I think, the modern wedding trends and current wedding trends are very vintage inspired, while also still bringing in that like contemporary aspect of it. Yeah, I love when people incorporate brown, even if it's like the bridesmaids dresses or the grooms, but also like linens and decor. It's really good at giving that like accent of a bold, deep color, while also still being, like I said, a neutral color that kind of can fall to the background without being like way too in your face. It's giving like espresso martini vibes. It's modern yet vintage, I think is what I'm trying to say. And I think that's awesome. I think it's so classy. It's so rich. It's just a beautiful color. Who doesn't love brown, honestly? And it looks great in weddings. So I think it's great for a lot of people who want maybe that timeless wedding look or want to lean into like the black and white, but maybe that's too stark for you. Try brown. Incorporate brown. Use that as your main color or use it as like an accent color for another, other colors in your palette and see how it works, because I think it looks fabulous and you should make your partner or your groom try on a brown suit because I think they look great. Okay, another wedding color I've been loving lately, which isn't necessarily a trend that I'm seeing, but I could see it becoming more of a trend, is purple. I can't really even think of off the top of my head a single wedding that I've seen, honestly, in the last 2 to 3 years that has been a purple wedding. And maybe that's just like a result of where I am or the weddings that I'm seeing, but like truly I don't see a lot, if any, purple weddings. And I want to see more of them because I think they are so beautiful. I don't know what it is lately, but I've just been loving the color purple, and I would love to see people who lean into that for their weddings. It looks amazing for bridesmaids dresses, florals, accents, linens, like truly, and like florals especially. Purple flowers are so magical and they really give off a certain sense of like whimsical while also being peaceful and natural, if that makes sense, which is just, we could dive all the way into color theory and the psychology of what certain colors do to your brain or whatever. But yeah, I would love to see more purple weddings. And at the same time, I've been like thinking this and wanting to see and talk about how I want to see more purple in weddings. I also saw a video like in the last week, honestly, of someone posting that they think that purple is going to be a big wedding color coming up in the next couple of years, which is just further proof that I know everything and that I can predict wedding trends perfectly. Just kidding. But like, I feel like with the red, how I was like 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, red is going to be big in weddings. I feel that way with purple. And maybe that's just because maybe the red kind of has been morphing into a purple with like the burgundy and chartreuse. Like it's becoming a red that becomes a dark red that becomes a purpley red, if that even makes sense. So yeah, I hope I see more of that, and I could see a lot more people embracing either like plum or lilac or a range of those and doing like purples and reds and burgundies and stuff like that, because it's kind of matching the vibe, like I said, of super almost vintage yet modern type of feel, like Art Deco, dark woods, lace, which we're going to talk more about. That's very much kind of the vibe of what people are going for in their weddings lately and what I've been seeing in trends. So, maybe it's just that I have been subliminally hoodwinked by big purple or just that I just feel like I want to see more purple in weddings, and I can see that becoming a thing. And I really do. Again, like I think that like a dark purple and a light purple and then maybe like a burgundy red, gorgeous, absolutely fabulous, would look so pretty in any wedding, any event kind of a thing. And it really matches that vibe of like neutral, earthy, vintage kind of a thing that I feel like a lot of people really want lately. Okay, now let's talk about gowns. I love wedding gowns, and it's probably one of the most obvious things when you think about like wedding trends is going to be the wedding gowns and what they look like. What's trending in the wedding gown world year by year, and kind of how that kind of goes in waves too, kind of how with the colors it was super colorful and then it was more whites and neutrals and then now it's leaning more into colors. I feel like the same thing happens with gown styles and silhouettes almost, whereas like 5-ish years ago, it was much more, I think, typical to see a more fitted gown or like a silky slip dress kind of a gown, where I think now, obviously, those still exist and they're still gorgeous. I think more people these days are leaning into ball gowns and more of those A-line ball gown type silhouettes, which personally I'm thrilled about. Love a ball gown, always have. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. I love a Bosque waist. I love a drop waist. And I think, again, that's going to be one of those things that people look back on and be like, oh, that was so 2026, the Bosque waist, the drop waist. And I don't care. I still love it. I think it's fabulous. And I think anyone who wears a gown that has a drop waist or a Bosque waist looks so fabulous. I seriously cannot get enough of it. I think they're so, so beautiful. It's so funny too, because for some reason, from what I've seen, this is just one of those things that people are so torn on. Like on every video I see of somebody talking about a Bosque waist or trying it on, half of the comments are like, oh, this is going to be the mason jar of 2026 or whatever. And maybe that could be the case, but also it's not like Bosque waist gowns have never existed. In fact, they've been around for a while. And I just think they're great. And I love a drop waist. I think they're so chic. I think they're so like Art Deco. I love them. They're super fun. Another one of my absolute favorite trends right now, probably my most favorite of all as of today, is when people or when brides will take their mom's wedding dress or someone else's, like their aunt or their grandma's wedding dress, and alter it and turn it into a mini dress to wear for their reception or as a rehearsal dinner dress. I love this trend. I love seeing it. I love seeing, first of all, what the gown looked like and what they alter it to be, whether it's a mini or they change the sleeves or whatever. And I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because I would totally do something like that with my mom's dress. It was so pretty. And yeah, I think that obviously if my mom was willing and let me do something like that to her dress, I think that her dress would look so cute as a mini. And I think it would be so fun to wear that as a rehearsal dinner dress or as a party dress for the end of the night or whatever it would be. I just love it. And on top of the fact that it's so sweet and it's so sentimental, I could really see it becoming one of those things too, where it was like a few people were doing it and then more people were doing it, and then it just turns into one of those things that people just do as a wedding tradition, like most people do it. Because number one, it's super sentimental. It's a great way to have, like those little tiny moments throughout your wedding day that mean a lot to you. And it's a great way to incorporate mothers and mother of the brides into weddings more, which is another thing that I think I've been seeing a lot more of recently, like donating your bouquet to your mom instead of doing a bouquet toss, things like that. I think it's just a really, really fun way to bring in that sweet, fun element of wearing your mom's dress, which is super fun. I think it's especially fun too when people turn it into a mini dress and then you have like obviously these extra scraps of fabric to use for other things, whether it's like decor or other sentimental pieces, as long as you don't go full, 27 dresses on it and just absolutely annihilate it like the sister did in the movie. But yeah, I love it. I think it's my favorite thing, hands down, right now that has been trending and I would love to see more of. I also love, kind of along those same lines, even if you don't end up like wearing your mom's dress or cutting her dress into a mini or whatever, I have loved seeing more people that as they get engaged, they just try on their mom's dress and the mother of the groom's dress and their grandma's dress or their aunt, like whoever. I think it's so fun to like lean into your bridal era in that sense and just try on everybody's wedding dresses and see how they look and how you like them. I mean, and it's just fun for me to see, again, like the different style trends of older generations or of weddings from a few years or a few decades ago, and see how aspects of them have maybe come back into style, or they are truly timeless, or they're just totally not at all. So yeah, I just love it. if you have the opportunity to wear your mom's dress and turn it into a mini dress, please do it. I think it's so cute. And also please tag me in it so that I can see it, because I'm obsessed with those. Also, this is something that I have been loving seeing lately. It's not necessarily a trend, but I also love seeing the videos of people who post all the dresses I tried on but didn't end up getting. I love those so much. Please tag me in them. I will watch them every single time. I love seeing what gowns people will try on, but then they don't end up getting, and then it just like makes the dress that you did end up getting all the more special and so fun to see. So yeah, that's just kind of like another like little, I guess, TikTok trend that I've been seeing, that I always like. I will watch them every time, and I will scroll through every single photo to see every single gown that you tried on but didn't end up getting. I love them. Tag me in them. I want to see it. Okay, more trends that I've been loving lately, specifically with gowns, is lace. There is so much lace everywhere, and I love it. Whether you have like, I see a lot of just fully like vintage looking lace gowns, fully lace, love it. I also love the gowns that are like super simple, or just like a plain, not like a plain, but like a simple fabric with accents of lace. I especially love the ones that are like the peekaboo lace on the neckline kind of a thing, which like is literally just one little peekaboo of lace underneath like a more simple gown. I love it. Obviously, lace veils are super trendy right now. The mantilla ones that go across the head and all the way around the hem of the veils. So beautiful. Again, it's one of those things that's like an aspect of like a vintage inspired kind of vibe that I think a lot of people are leaning into, and I love it. And especially the lace, like the veils that are all lace, like the whole veil is just lace. I think they are so gorgeous, and I just love them. Same thing, I've been seeing a lot of lace even just with other accessories, like gloves or scarves are super in right now. I love a lace scarf. It's a little pop of lace, or your whole gown is lace. I just think it is one of those things that is timeless, yet very much of the era right now. And I love it. I mean, like, people have been wearing lace wedding dresses for centuries, and it's so classy. It's so beautiful. I love a lace gown. I just think they're so beautiful right now. So I've been loving all the lace. Speaking of accessories, I have also been seeing a lot more people kind of lean into accessories in addition to their bridal ensemble. I actually wrote an article yesterday about a wedding I saw where the rehearsal dinner, the bride had a really cute purse. It was like an all pearl purse handbag moment. And then for her wedding day, had a really pretty white Louis Vuitton bag. So here's your idea. Here's your sign to get a little bag, a little bridal bag moment, or to lean into more of the accessories, because I think they're so fun. And why not embrace it? If it comes in white, if you want to wear white to your wedding, get more accessories. You're spending the money, you might as well spend more, especially on a designer handbag. That's what I would do. I've been super into bags lately. I've been really drawn to purses and bags. I'm a bag girl lately. So yeah, I've been loving that. Also, like I said, scarves. I love the trend right now that's like a cape scarf kind of a moment, that are usually like a sheer chiffon kind of a thing, and it's just like a little wrap that goes around your shoulders and then like hangs behind you, like really long and very bridal. And it's not necessarily a veil, but it's giving the same vibes as a veil. I love those. I love those in bridal. I love those for guests, like wedding guests. I just think they're so pretty, so fabulous. So yeah, those are the gown trends that I have been loving lately. Obviously, there are a million more, but those are just the ones that are very like prominent and like my top favorites lately. So yeah, love those ones. I actually, before I move on, I also love when people do like a mix and match moment. Like they'll have a veil on for their ceremony and then a scarf for the dinner, or gloves, and then they take off the gloves or the sleeves and they remove the sleeves. I love a mix and match moment, especially like throughout the day for someone who maybe you want a second look but don't want to like buy a whole new dress or wear a whole new dress. It's fun to have a way to mix it up in that way. I also remember, I just remembered when I worked at one of the bridal stores I worked at a while ago, there was like a random spurt of time where like headbands were super trendy, and I don't know if that was like a whole, like everyone was doing a thing or if it was just a Utah thing, but like the really thick either like pearl headbands or a beaded headband, a lot of brides were looking for that so that they could wear the veil during their ceremony, and then like for the reception and dancing they would put a headband on instead of a veil so they weren't like stepping on it or something. And I think that's really cute. Actually, we should bring that back. Let me know if you wear a headband on your wedding day or something, like even if it's like a bridal shower. I think the super thick headbands are super fun. I honestly don't really wear headbands, but yeah, it may be something of the past. It's very 2023. That's out of style now, but let's see. What are some other trends that I've been loving lately? It's not necessarily like a new trend. It's actually kind of probably been a few years now, but I love a vintage cake. It's one of those things that is sort of timeless, but also of the era. I just think that they are so fun, and it's so fun to see the piping and the drop lines, which again, I'm going to say this probably 17,000 times just during this episode, but a lot of the trends right now are very vintage inspired while also being very modern and contemporary. And I just think that a vintage piping cake is so fun, especially the ones that are like a ton of tiers or like 3 tiers or whatever. I just love the vintage cakes with cherries on top, and I love when they are like a super dark moody color, like a dark red or like even like black or like a deep dark color, or just, yeah, I think it's so fun when people like take a trend and then maybe like turn it into something new instead of just like a plain white cake, which again, nothing wrong with a plain white cake or like an ivory cake, because again, super classy, super fun. Love a vintage cake. I've also really been loving lately, and I don't know if this is necessarily like a trend per se, but I really love that lately I feel like people are really just leaning into throwing tradition out of the way and like doing stuff that's super unique. What I mean by this is I think a lot of people are like probably coming to this realization that like, oh, just because it's like something that people have always done at weddings doesn't mean I like have to do that. I can either put my own spin on it or completely throw it out and do something totally different, or just make it my own and make it unique. For example, I can't remember if it was a video I saw or just a comment on a video that I saw. I think it was a comment, but somebody was like, oh, for our vows, instead of doing like a typical unity ceremony or something like that, she said, me and my husband just made a PB&J sandwich, and that was our wedding ceremony. And I think the post was something about how like her mom or whoever was like, that's so weird, like you're gonna make a peanut butter and like a PB&J sandwich for your wedding ceremony. But I loved it. I think it's such a fun way to like incorporate, for them it was like incorporate details from their love story or from their life together, and use that as a way to symbolically represent their unity. They like made this sandwich together and like, from what I'm assuming, literally just brought it together and ate it. And then to her point too, and she says ever since then, whenever we make a PB&J sandwich, it reminds us of when we got married, which that's so fun. And so again, so unique. I never would have thought of something like that, but it's honestly just like making me think more about like these traditions and about ceremonies and just stuff like that. If you want to do something completely unique and completely out of the blue, you can do it, because it's your wedding and you do actually get to do what you want at the end of the day, because it is actually all about you and not about anybody else except your spouse, I guess. But if it's like, yeah, stuff like something like that is just so fun. I love seeing the super unique things that people do. Another really fun one that I saw, I think yesterday, was like somebody had made a post about, we wrote handwritten letters to every single guest, and that was kind of part of the seating chart, was they would get their letter at their seat, or they'd pick up their letter and take it to their seat. And as a spin-off of that, somebody said, I hand drew a portrait for all of our guests, because they were an artist. They're like, yeah, for all of our guests, I just drew them like a hand-drawn portrait of them. And I think that's so cool and so fun. And if I got that as a guest at a wedding, I would be obsessed with it, and I would I would frame it and put it on my wall. It's stuff like that people are, like I said, either like completely throwing out tradition and doing something crazy unique, or taking something that has already been done and putting their own spin on it. So yeah, that's something I love, seeing stuff like that. especially lately, like I said, again, people are really doing things their own way, and that's really cool and really fun. I think that we're entering into a new era of people are making their weddings more about them and about their love story than they are making it about your typical traditional wedding, which there's nothing wrong with that. If you love a traditional wedding layout, setup, and lean into it, that's fabulous too, because it's beautiful and again, timeless. But yeah, I love seeing all the unique stuff that people do. Okay, next trend. I would be remiss to not mention the fact that I genuinely, unironically love a Western elegance dress code. There was the whole thing like that went super viral last year about Western elegance and what, this one girl posted about it, and all the comments were like, girl, this is not Western elegance. What are you doing? Kind of coming for her or whatever. But then it kind of turned into this whole, Western elegance kind of a thing. And I genuinely, even before that and kind of since then, have been seeing a lot more people who are doing sort of Western themed rehearsal dinners or like cocktail parties or even like their wedding. Like oh my gosh, there's this wedding I saw that genuinely was like Western themed, and it was so fabulous. But I specifically, for me, have been loving the Western elegance rehearsal dinners, and that's totally something that I would do. I think it, especially like bringing back to the color red, and maybe this is just me projecting actually. There's this pair of cowboy boots that I want so bad that are these red knee-high like boots, and I think they're so cute. And so I think maybe what it is that when I picture like a Western elegance rehearsal dinner, I think of like Western, and I would totally like bring in the red to something like that and lean into it. It's really fun to see how people lean into the themes like that are like super specific. And it's especially fun for a rehearsal dinner because maybe you can do something either more casual or more like a little bit out of left field that you wouldn't necessarily do for a wedding day, but you would do for a rehearsal dinner. So that's something that I've been loving and totally something I would do. I think what it is at the end of all of it is I just right now love a super unique statement, artistic wedding that leans into the actual details of the couple's love story. I think that's what I mean by the super unique moments that are like you never would have thought to do. I love when people are taking their love story, the love you share with this person that you're getting married to, and you turn that into either a decoration element or a tradition element or something like that. Because what it is to me is that every detail matters. You're choosing the poppies because you grew up next to a poppy field, or you wore your mom's birthstone earrings that she got when you were a baby, or like something like we chose to give away little mini honey jars as our party favor because we put honey in our coffee every day, like something like that. It really is the tiny little details that mean something that you incorporate into your celebration of your love story that make it so magical. Oh, another thing, I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about this, is groom fashion. I love when I see a groom that leans into more than just like a regular tux, which don't get me wrong, I love a tux. Tuxes at weddings look so nice. They look so fabulous, especially when it's like all the groomsmen and everything are in tuxes and bow ties. I think it's so nice. And I love when the groom gets his moment too. For example, I wonder if I could find a video from this person and link it in the show notes. I'll try and do that. But I've been seeing this guy post about his wedding, and his suit was, number one, brown. Love it. And it was like a custom bespoke like designer suit almost. Instead of being a typical suit, it was like a wraparound kind of moment with a tie, and then the legs were like super wide and flowy. And I thought it was so cool. It looked so good, and it's a really fun way to give the groom his moment too if you have a bride and a groom at your wedding. I think we need to lean more into that and give the groom like a little something. It's fun to see, like the guys who are super like stylish and lean into that artsy, maybe it's their vibe to be super artsy or fashion forward. I think that the fun groom looks are everything. I'm obsessed with them. Like I said, at the end of the day, whether you follow the trends and super lean into it and you do end up having a burgundy and chartreuse wedding, which I think is fabulous, by the way. It's super classy. I love that color palette. Or you try and lean away from it and go for a more traditional, classic look. What matters at the end of the day is as long as you love it and it's something that you want and you want to do at your wedding, that's what matters. And if you're going to look back on 20 years and love it or be like, ooh, why did I do that? You got married when you got married. And I think that's great. Lean into it. That's what I say. Okay, I asked, like I said, on Instagram, what trends other people are loving. And I'm going to read some of those because I love them and I want to talk about some of them. So one of them says, fun second look dresses. Yes, I agree. I love a second look dress. I love emphasis on the fun. I love something with tassels and fringe and sparkle and feathers. Oh my gosh, I love when people do like a feathery getaway dress or a feathery, like a sparkly, fringy reception dress. I think it's so fun. I love it. I super agree. That was a great one. Someone said scarves, which I talked about. Again, love, super agree. I love a scarf moment for a wedding dress. I love that that's trending lately. My friend wrote in calla lilies. I can't believe I forgot to talk about these. I love the calla lily bouquets that are, especially the ones that are the dark red or dark purple calla lilies, and that's all it is just a cluster of those for the bouquet. I think they are so fab. I also love the floral purses that are super trendy right now, that it's like a hoop or a ring and then the flowers kind of go around it and it looks like a purse and you carry it almost sideways. I think they're so cool and they're so artsy and art deco and like couture. It was like I think it's so fun and so cool. I love seeing the unique ways, again, that people take something and then turn it into their own. Love them. Love a calla lily moment. So pretty. Along those same lines, someone wrote in miniature bouquets, and I agree. I actually don't know that I can think of one that I've seen recently off the top of my head, but yeah, I do think that miniature bouquets are super cute and super classy. Again, kind of fun. This one says plum merlot olive green color palette. Yes, I would love to see more of that. I think that's, again, one of those things that's kind of coming into it, that maybe people are starting to plan that, but I haven't necessarily seen weddings that have happened recently that have it yet. But I am excited to see more of that, especially with the plum merlot olive green. I think it's gorgeous. Super classy, super moody and dark. Okay, this one's funny. I had one box that was trends you're loving and ones that were trends that you weren't loving. And so for the loving one, someone wrote in blowing out the cake and kissing in the middle. So cute. And then on the other one, on the other question box that was trends you're not loving, someone wrote blowing the candles out on the cake, no germs for me, please. Which is super funny because I got 2 separate write-ins about that trend. What it is instead of like a traditional like tiered wedding cake, I've been seeing people will make like a super long rectangular one and then put candles in it, and then the bride and groom, instead of cutting the cake, will stand on either end and then blow the candles out until they meet in the middle. Super cute, super fun. And it's funny that on one hand someone loved it and on the other hand someone was like, no thank you, no germs please. And I have to say, I might agree that I don't super love it. Not that if you do that at your wedding, I hate it, because I don't hate it. I don't think that I would do that at mine, but also that could be one of those things where I'm like, not for me. And then like 2 years from now, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's super cute. So never say never. But yeah, that's not something that's at the top of my list at the moment. So anyway, there are my current trends, my current favorite wedding moments as of recently that I've been super loving. I absolutely did not even scratch the surface on like current trends I'm seeing, but yeah, I guess those are like my super top memorable ones. Let me know what other trends y'all are liking. I want to hear about the ones that you love that I maybe didn't mention or maybe that I haven't even heard of. So let me know what wedding trends you've been liking lately. If I had to describe what I would say the current sort of vibe is for like all these different trends, I feel like they kind of all line up a little bit, like the colors and the lace and if I had to describe what I think the overarching theme would be, I would say like vintage inspired meets modern glam or something like maybe like vintage inspired contemporary art, or like Art Deco meets lace renaissance, is that kind of a vibe. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, between the colors and the styles and the lace, and yeah, that's how I would say it. Let me know what you think or how you would describe it, because I also think that it might differ depending on a region or depending on what you're seeing. Rounding out the end of the episode today, the tip of the week, I guess as I am now calling it, is to start a wedding-specific email. I think this is a pretty popular trick actually for people, or advice for people who are planning a wedding. I see a lot of people say that the very, very first thing you need to do when you get engaged is to start a new email that is a wedding-specific email. That way, it's way, way easier to keep track of all of your vendor communications and your budget and everything like that. It's just all in one place, and it's easy for you and your fiance to both reference it and access it while you're wedding planning. And on top of that, which leads me to what I saw recently, is that after you get married and the wedding's over, now you have this shared email that you can access with your partner for like home documents and like stuff if you have children, like stuff that you need to be able to access for either of you. And you have this shared kind of family email that you can just have now forever and ever, that started as a wedding email. So I loved that. Hopefully I did a good enough job of explaining it, but yeah, there's my tip of the week that I saw from somebody else. And I think it's a great one. So if you are planning a wedding or just got engaged or whatever, start a wedding-specific email address that you share with your partner that you can use long into your marriage for other things as well. So that's today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Seriously, thank you for even taking the time to sit with me and hear all about what I think about weddings and the color red and lace and all of it. I really appreciate you being here. And of course, if you listen to as many podcasts as I do, you know the drill. If you like what you hear, leave a rating and review. It would mean the absolute world to me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm excited to talk next week. As always, you can find me on Instagram at the Garter Toss Podcast, YouTube at the Garter Toss Podcast as well. TikTok is Sydney Clara. Yeah, like I said, tag me in your favorite wedding trends lately. I want to see them, and I want to hear about all the ones that you're loving. So I will see you next week, and I hope you have the best weekend ever if you're listening to this on Friday. That's all for today. Okay, love you, bye.